And joining me now to talk more about this ongoing debt crisis is Western New York Democrat Kathy Hochul. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here. Just hours ago, you gave a speech on the floor of the House of Representatives, right? You were advocating for a more compromised bill. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and that's all we've been talking about since I arrived here on June 1st is the need for us to get together, Democrats, Republicans, put our partisan bickering aside and do what's right for the American people. And I have to tell you, I spent some time in Washington a long time ago working for Senator Moynihan and Congressman LaFalce. What a different time that was. There were more personal relationships. It wasn't as visceral as it is now. And people are just digging their heels in, particularly on the Republican side, and unwilling to compromise. The Democrats have come a long way toward compromise. I mean, basically, they just wanted a clean debt ceiling increase that we've always had. Past presidents, Reagan, Bush, everyone else has had the luxury of having that without additional cuts. And Democrats support the cuts, but it's just got nowhere.
So, Congresswoman, how was it that you were selected? I actually caught the tail end of your remarks, but I have a copy of them here. Basically, you gave the closing argument right before the House Speaker, John Boehner's bill, was voted on. He spoke just before you did, and it was voted on. It passed kind of in a squeaker along party lines. How were you selected?
Well, I was just asked if I would be willing to do so. I've had the opportunity to speak on the floor on a number of issues over the last couple months. I use that opportunity to promote the interest of the district whenever I can, and I was just asked if I could put together some remarks, which I was happy to do, and really speak from the heart about the issues that affect my district and really the message I brought here from our election. So I think they felt that that would be very genuine. I mean, I don't go out there and throw bombs. I try to be very conciliatory and talk about our common bond, our shared values. And basically saying, you know what, the American people are looking at us to get this job done. The whole world is watching us, and they want us to take care of this. And I just said it's hard for me to go back and face the seniors that I know from the Hillview Diner and in the restaurant and on Transit Road in Lancaster I always go to, and just say, you know what, we didn't get the job done. And I think we got to be very personal about this and and speak to what the real people back home are talking about, and really get out of this environment here where it's just all this hyper partisanship, and it's got to end. It really does, because we are now looking into the abyss.
You spoke.
August 2nd is literally hours away, and we're not any closer.
Yeah, it does not look that way. You actually spoke about an amendment that would have ended subsidies for big oil and also for corporate jet owners. That failed.
Well, and I was simply saying that it's a question of our priorities. If you're willing to be slashing programs like student loans, I mean, they're saying we should be cutting Pell Grants. And we have so many universities in our district. They're really the economic engine that drives the innovation and the small businesses we need. We need those smart kids to have great universities to go to. We start slashing Pell Grants and research assistance to the University of Buffalo all the way to RIT and University of Rochester and Brockport and Geneseo and our community colleges. We need them to be strong and healthy in order for our kids to be able to compete on the global economy with the rest of the world. And so I just simply said, those are our priorities. Before you have cuts in those programs, you need to be cutting subsidies to big oil, because last I checked, they were doing just fine. And I don't think that at a time of record prices at the gas pumps, my citizens can barely pay to fill up their gas tank anymore. And we're continuing taxpayer handouts to these people. And I said it's not right.
You actually, it looks like, though, everybody is pretty much dug in. I mean, this bill, the Boehner bill that passed with the Republicans and no Democratic support, is the Senate Majority Leader has vowed to kill, and the White House says even if it got to them, they'd veto it anyway. So now, when is this going to end? I mean, we're talking about Tuesday. Tuesday is the deadline. You're going to stay there through the weekend, but when's it going to break?
Well, basically, today's was an exercise. It was futile. It was a charade, because everyone knew on the Republican side that they're going to put through something so draconian that it was never going to pass. And basically, it fails to do what this economy needs. This economy needs certainty. And to say that, well, we'll give you a little trickle now, but we're going to deal with this again in the exact same way in 6 months, that's going to hurt Wall Street. It's going to hurt our 401k plans. And it's just terrible. We're still crawling out of the 2008 recession, particularly in upstate New York, where we are really hard hit, and it's not right. I think we should get back to either looking at the grand plan that the president had, which was $4 trillion in deficit reduction through a combination of spending cuts, but also revenue increases on the wealthiest in this country, and closing tax loopholes. And I think we just got to start over again, pretend the last 3 weeks didn't occur, get back to some of the ideas that were very thoughtful, that I think Speaker Boehner supported a few weeks ago, and now he walked away from the table. I think we were close to a deal. And I think he got too much pressure from the right-wing side of his party,
But
and
wait,
he walked away.
Congresswoman, we start all over again. We don't have time.
No, that's not starting over. I'm talking about there were very solid plans on the table.
I see.
That Democrats and many people, Republicans, supported, and now they've taken a hard right turn to bring in the Tea Party element of the party, and now they've gotten it so nobody will support it.
Okay.
So,
but
I'm not sure. I think also the Reid plan. The
Right.
Reid plan is out there, and I think that's most likely to get support in the House of Representatives by the Democrats.
Is it possible, do you think, that a clean, at the very end, that the Republicans could see their way to just support what you called, and actually we talked about this during the campaign even, a clean debt ceiling bill, which would just raise the debt ceiling, and then you come back on another day and deal with the cuts that I think everybody agrees there needs to be a reining in of spending in Washington?
You know, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say what's on their minds and what they would do. At this point, again, a couple weeks ago, Democrats are willing to support spending cuts and closing of loopholes in order to get the debt ceiling increased by August 2nd. That was a compromise package. That didn't make it, so I think the only option we really have now is to go back to the bill. I don't know if it's going to pass or not, but the consequences, if we don't, are absolutely dire, and it's unconscionable to me that we are down fiddling while Rome burns at this point. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
So you are prepared, obviously, to be there through the weekend?
Oh, I'm planning. We've already canceled a lot of plans, and unfortunately, we were supposed to be in the district the week before last, and we spent the entire time here as well. So I am just chomping at the bit to get on the next plane I can and get back to the district and start getting back to the small towns and talking to the business owners I've gotten to know and the seniors I want to get back to seeing. But we're pretty much held captive here, just like the rest of the economy. And it's being handled by a small group of people, and we're just waiting to hear what proposal they come up with.
Okay. Well, Congresswoman Hochul, I really thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Washington, right? It is trial by fire.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, bye-bye.